Liberals and Tories are reacting pretty quickly to comments Jagmeet Singh made today that make it appear that he now opposes the consumer carbon tax. My colleague Rachel Aiello is seated right next to me here. You've been covering the NDP for the last few days. We're going to play a clip of some of the reaction, including from Environment Minister Stevie Guilbeault in a second. How did this come about? Because it is prompting so much reaction from the other parties right now.
Yeah, so I can peel back the curtain a bit on this one. Heading into today, the NDP's message was essentially, we don't have much to say. So we were going to be able to scrum Singh. Reporters got together. This was a suggestion from our colleague at the Canadian Press. Because Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has been asking for a carbon tax election and Singh won't bite on that element, let's ask what his position is right now on the carbon tax. Because we saw in the House previously, he was a bit wishy-washy on this. So the question was put to him and his answer was along the lines of what we've heard from the NDP before, this talk about not wanting to put a price of pollution on workers' backs. But the big takeaway for me, Vassy, was for a party that spent the whole week talking about not wanting to seem goaded into things by Conservatives, specifically in the context of a non-confidence motion, coming out today indicating any sort of indecisiveness on a carbon tax when the Conservatives have been going so hard against a carbon tax kind of struck me. I thought that was an interesting approach. And if you're going to be running in the next election as a progressive alternative to the Conservatives, you want to fight against Pierre Poilievre to be the next Prime Minister, and he has made carbon tax such a big issue. The NDP need to have a strong plan and a strong message, and what we heard today was not that.
It's coming soon, just like the Conservatives' plan. Let me play for you and our audience both exactly what Jagmeet Singh said, and then right after Mr. Singh, we'll play the clip from Stevie Guilbeault, the Federal Minister of Environment, who posted a video online. He wanted to react so much.
We want to see an approach to fighting the climate crisis where it doesn't put the burden on the backs of working people, where big polluters have to pay their fair share, they have to pay the price of their pollution, but it shouldn't be on working people's shoulders. And so we've been working on a plan, and we'll be releasing our plan, our vision for how we can do that in a stronger way in the coming months.
Would the plan include a consumer carbon tax?
Well, we'll let you know when the plan is ready, and we'll let you know more details about it.
True leadership is often shown when the going gets tough. The reason I came into politics is to fight climate change, which is why I was so disappointed to see Jagmeet Singh's NDP cave to Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative misinformation and disinformation campaign on carbon pricing. Putting a price on pollution is the best way to reduce emissions. Jagmeet Singh and the NDP know that more than 200 economists have said that it was the best measure that we can put in place to fight climate change.
It's interesting. It's like almost the first time the Liberals have had some good news on this file. Like, I think from their perspective, and let me know what you think, like they're able in this instance to carve out strategically some ground on the progressive side on an issue that's incredibly important to their voters and NDP voters.
Well, and we saw that reaction today from New Democrat voters asking, I want my environment critic, my MP Laura Collins, to explain this position. Can you clarify? And if the Liberals are able to open up the field and champion and find a message they can stick, being they are the only party who is going to strongly defend a carbon tax or a price on pollution, maybe that could be their way into shoring up some NDP voters. It's really interesting heading into the next sitting of Parliament because the Conservatives are going to make it clear they're going to put forward a motion of non-confidence. There have been other motions in the past on the carbon tax that the NDP have sided with the Conservatives on. So I wonder in their contemplations heading into next week if they're going to try to find a way to maneuver and at least angle them on it. Obviously, the reaction today from the Conservatives was, let's not buy this. This is another example of the NDP saying one thing and acting another way, pointing to all the other times New Democrats voted against their motions against the carbon tax in the House. The one specific area where the NDP seems kind of soft on the issue is wanting to consult with premiers. They were supportive of the Prime Minister going to meet with premiers when all of the attention was around the latest hike on the carbon price. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of message the NDP kind of formulate on this to find a coherent way to explain what they mean by price for big polluters, but not on working Canadians.
Right. And we did try to get them on the show tonight.
And
and they declined our request, but the other two parties were ready to debate them. So hopefully that happens next week. Thanks a lot, Rachel. I really appreciate it. CTV's Rachel Aiello.